Today on DNVR Buffs Live, could the Buffs add any players to the roster late in this, offseason? We play a little game of fill in the blank. And how close or how far are we from a Folsom Field naming rights deal? All that and more. Let's dive in. Let's go.
Welcome in to DNVR Buffs Primetime, coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. It is Friday. Next week, we will start previewing camp, and then it begins.
We're close, man.
I'm so ready.
It sneaks up on you.
It does. This video game's kind of helping the last 2 weeks go by pretty nicely, though.
Yep. Also, happy payday.
Happy payday for sure. Great day.
Huge day.
Are you going to update us on Coach RK and what happened the other night?
Coach RK almost got fired.
That was pretty bad, man. I'll just tell you, I was playing while your stream was on.
Yeah.
And I just heard, oh no.
Yeah,
and I see the pause screen all of a sudden. I can't believe that just happened.
I was shook, dude. I was shook. My heart dropped right out of my body. Long story short, because I know some of you are sick of hearing about this game. I completed a miraculous comeback against Kansas State. I think I was down 21-14 in the fourth quarter. 21-7 in the fourth quarter. Scored 14 points to tie it up. Got a pick. Shout out Sammy Sachs, a.k.a. Sammy Picks.
Yep.
Getting me the ball back in field goal range. And I just forgot that I already used all of my timeouts trying to complete this comeback. I don't know why. I think it's because I went from being in such a chase to being in control of the game that I just forgot that I burnt all my timeouts. So I just tried to center the ball and get us ready for a field goal. And then I realized with 5 seconds left on the clock that I didn't have any timeouts left.
Oh man.
And I just pressed pause to just be like, what options do I have right now? And realized quickly that I did not have any options except for to go to overtime. And we went to overtime and got our ass kicked in overtime.
It happens, man.
It was so brutal, dude. If I was just doing that at home with no one watching, I would just be like, you're an idiot and move on.
Yeah.
The fact that there was 100 people watching me do that dumb shit was so embarrassing. But it did make for some good drama.
It did.
If this was a reality show, the coach absolutely blowing one of the games when the show's about him would be that's good drama.
For sure. You got people who are watching the stream on their second screen to really pay attention, though. Like I said.
Yeah, you paused yours.
Immediately, yes. Because I was like, what just happened?
Dude, I just, I couldn't believe that happened. But yeah, afterwards, the way that I got to sleep that night, actually I didn't really sleep that night, but I don't think it was because of that. The way that I just got myself to chill out about it is I was just like, hey, if I just went and won every game in the same fashion every time, it wouldn't be that interesting. Right. That made things a little more interesting. And then we went and smoked Arizona.
I saw that.
And smoked Cincinnati. So now we're back. We're in 5th place in the conference, tied with some other 2-loss teams. We still get to play them. Coach RK stream tonight is gonna be lit.
So you're back tonight.
We're back tonight.
All right, excellent. You got to work on your recruiting, though. That's all I'll add.
Bro, Coach Jake came in and got us right.
I was trying, but you got to do more. I'm telling you.
I know.
You use your hours every week.
So wait, how many hours do you get per week?
You get the same, but it's the same like number that you like allocate to the guys that you are recruiting.
Yeah.
Counts.
So here's what happened. I thought that I had that amount of hours for the season.
No.
So I was like using everything sparingly. Yeah, it's bad. We have no recruits. Also, I don't know if you know the answer to this, but I accidentally took a recruit who had me in first place off of my board.
Just add him back.
I did add him back, but I'm just like, is that going to affect him that I pulled his scholarship offer?
So the way it works is that if you go to the next week, then it applies the actions.
Oh, okay.
So if you take someone off your board, you can just re-add them, and you might have to like add your recruiting points back in or whatever, but you should be okay.
Thank God.
Yeah. That's why like the
Thanks.
bar has that like the two like shades.
Yep.
The like darker one is what progress in the last week.
Okay. Yeah, man, you're a recruiting coordinator. So
I've watched a lot of videos on it because I need it with UAB. It's rough out there.
You're our GM, director of player personnel, and
yeah.
recruiting coordinator.
All right, I like it. Okay, let's get into the show. This time last year, we thought we were pretty much done with the roster, and then camp started, and then what was it, like a week or two before the season? Juju Mitchell
Yep.
enters the portal, joins the team, and it was at a position of need, of course, too, but it was a late addition, something that kind of came out of nowhere. So let's speculate a bit. Do you think we get any late additions this offseason? And if so, what position needs it the most?
Can I ask a question first?
Sure.
And I say this with all due respect to Juju.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that Juju Mitchell, of course, do you think that the addition of Juju Mitchell is a net positive over the course of the season?
Oh, man. What a question. I think ultimately, yes.
I think so, too.
Because you look at the stats, and I don't have them in front of me right now, but what do you end up? Still the leading tackler on the team? Second leading tackler?
It's got to be
like
close, yeah.
He was massive in that Colorado State game and a few others.
The reason I asked the question, and I think I agree with your answer, is the reason Juju became available so late in the cycle or season, off season, whatever you want to call it, is because he was kicked off of Arizona State.
Right.
And I think in our interactions with Juju throughout the year, like what I came to learn is he was like a really good kid who just made the wrong decisions sometimes.
Yes.
And the reason I asked the question about whether it's a net negative or net positive is just because like Juju ended up becoming a huge part of the defense. And
Early on.
Early on, yes. And then we lost him.
Yeah.
And I think you just have to ask the question of like, was it worth it for those few games to have him be there, but then have to re-scramble everything? And all of the time that he played was time that guys weren't able to play.
Right.
And like would their development or would leaning on Marvin Ham more, who was obviously like a veteran presence throughout the season, could that have helped? But in the end, I think you want the playmakers. And you hope that you can get them in the right place. Because I think in the end, if you're going to add someone late, there's going to be a reason why they're out there on the market at that time.
Mm-hmm.
To circle back to the main question, which is, do I think they're going to add someone? I think they will. I think that Coach Prime's he's obviously a really unique person. Everyone understands that. But I also think he's unique in the sense that like, he's the perfect person for a lot of these guys.
Right.
And I think if there's one or two players out there who are really talented, who are looking for a place where maybe they, get their head on straight, I think Coach Prime is the perfect player to play for. Perfect coach to play for. I also think that not everyone, it's not going to work every time. And so you take the risk. That you understand the risk when you're adding guys like that. But I think that in the end they do add one or two players late.
I think so too. I think this coach and this recruiting staff have showed that, especially this offseason, that I don't want to say it's not good enough, but they're just always looking to add, right? They're always going to take an opportunity if it presents themselves. And to go back to Juju, so he only ended up with 32 tackles, actually, 9th on the team. But, like, the butterfly effect of that, like, if Juju doesn't get suspended, do they even move Trevor Woods to linebacker?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so there was some good that still kind of came out of Juju, whatever happened with him off the field that didn't allow him to play. It forced the team to think on their feet, obviously. And maybe it wasn't like an immediate solution at the time, but hear what Coach Prime said about Trevor Woods a few weeks ago, and Coach Hart, when we talked to him about Trevor, and we know that he's probably undersized for the position right now, but they see a really smart player that they're able to take more advantage of, moving him closer to the line of scrimmage and able to get guys like Cam on the field at safety now instead. So there's obviously that's kind of like making something good out of a bad situation, really, with that. But yeah, I do think that they'll look to add someone. What position do you think? They talked a lot about quarterback and never added a quarterback.
Yep, I was going to say backup quarterback is a potential option. And just for those of you guys who are asking the question, like, how would they add someone late? Grad transfers can basically do whatever they want.
Yes, exactly.
So it would be a grad transfer, but I do think there's probably a quarterback out there somewhere on a roster who's thinking they have a chance to be the starter or the backup, and maybe they end up being the third string.
Right.
And so, like, they grad transfer to Colorado and become the backup. And
yes,
maybe they had, like, previous experience in this offense or something along those lines. So that's a great one. And I do think camp battles could play a role in this, which is different than what we were talking about earlier, which is like, someone gets kicked off a team or has a falling out with the coach or whatever it may be. So I think that's a big one. I think linebacker is a potential. I think tight end has potential. And I think those are the main ones.
So Trevor in the Toyota,
maybe corner.
Trevor in the Toyota chat says tight end and running back, and then Jay says cornerback as well.
Yeah.
I could see cornerback, but again, you've got guys like Carter Stoutmire who you could just move back to corner if you really had to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think obviously a lot of the cornerback issues last year were just because Travis got hurt and Cormani was nothing. I don't think you'll have one of those situations for sure this year. We knock on wood that Travis stays healthy, but I think that you look at linebacker, I don't know. I think tight end we're actually okay. I do. With Sam Hart, with Savell Smalls, and Morgan Pearson as your top three, I mean, it's a very athletic group, especially with the two guys who are changing positions, and then you're getting a very proven guy, or maybe not proven, but experienced guy in Sam Hart.
Yeah, I don't know. Tight end is one of the hardest positions to learn.
It is.
And so counting on two guys who are just starting their careers at that position, at this level at least, is concerning to me. Mm-hmm. If there was someone out there who had played 4 years of college football already and was a grad transfer and, didn't feel like they were going to have the opportunities, maybe they got recruited over, whatever, and they, they see the writing on the wall on the depth chart and they want to come in, I would appreciate that.
Okay. We'll also just see who enters the portal.
Yeah.
That's what it all kind of comes down to. Another thing to touch on here, some changes kind of coming to the recruiting calendar. We had some questions yesterday about the dead period and stuff like that.
Also, Glow Studios asks, so are you all saying none of the quarterbacks they have are good enough, Walter, the twin, or even Ryan? I don't think that's necessarily what we're saying.
Right.
It's that none of them have real experience.
I'm just going off what Neely said a ton and what Coach himself mentioned was that they wanted to add a quarterback and they did early in the portal, but after spring football, they talked about it again. They said they wanted another one. Yeah,
for sure. And like I said, but at the same time, you don't have, like, you have Staub, who's played one game plus a couple snaps. You have Walter Taylor, who has played, spot snaps. And the same thing of everyone else on the roster. So it's like, again, if you had an experienced quarterback who's started games, look at even Arizona State's quarterback depth chart. They have these guys who have just played. Mm-hmm. It's just nice to have someone in there that's like, okay, God forbid you have to bring in your backup. You'd love to just have someone who's like started multiple games in college football.
Right. Chase saying the Utah State fire sale too. That's another good point. Portal's open for them with the firing of their coach. So
wow,
it's a crazy situation.
Okay.
They put out a whole statement yesterday, basically.
Wait, tell me. I was totally out of touch.
Okay, well, I'll tell you on the other side of this ad break.
Okay. Good tease.
It's a crazy situation, though. It was a wild statement they put out yesterday. Shout out to our friends over at Mint Mobile. Cell phone bills suck, right?
Yeah.
I've asked you this question before. Do you like money?
I do like money.
Well,
I also like mints.
I don't know if I can actually help you out with the mint stuff.
Okay.
But Mint Mobile will help you lower your cell phone bill. You can pay up to only $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, you got to go to mintmobile.com/buffs. That's mintmobile.com/buffs. And again, you'll slash your wireless bill to $15 a month. I saw some people in the chat yesterday when we were talking about this saying that they have Mint Mobile, and it was great. They switched from some of the bigger cell phone providers and had no drop-off over at Mint Mobile. It's a $45 upfront payment required. That's equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on the first 3-month plan only. Speed slower than 40 gigabytes on the unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. And see Mint Mobile for details.
What else, Jake?
Our friends at UC Health. Our wonderful friends at UC Health. Did you need to, address your mental health situation after the K-State game?
In very serious ways.
Maybe you can share your story with UC Health then, because they're sharing a bunch of patient stories how you can take better care of your health.
I could.
You might be the first video game story on the website too.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the biggest problem was my heart rate.
Yeah. Take care of that, man. We need you. But you can go on over to uchealth.org/tomorrow and read a bunch of patient stories and how Coloradans are taking care of their mental health. One of their stories includes David Schlitt. He's a Colorado teenager who loves being active outdoors and is a prime example of someone taking care of their mental health like there is a tomorrow. If you want to learn more about David's story and see more inspiring patient stories from UC Health, you can head to uchealth.org/tomorrow to learn what it means to live like there is a tomorrow. Maximo says I have Mint Mobile and prefer it greatly. See?
Big
Toyota Chat
big
knows.
endorsement there.
Okay, so
did you see someone tagged us in just a shout out to one of our other sponsors before I forget?
Oh, I did see this. Yeah,
about the Toyota thing.
Oh yeah.
There's like a graphic that came out from a Twitter account called Learn Something. It says a cool guide on which cards to avoid based on year. Just no appearance from Toyota at all on this list.
Because they're the GOATs.
You can just rep any Toyota from any year, and you're going to get a great car.
Shout out Toyota as well. Okay, so the Utah State thing. It's a messy and kind of gross situation. Apparently there were some sexual assault or domestic violence issues that happened, and I'm not too educated on this, so tell me if I'm wrong, chat. But I think that Blake Anderson, the former head coach at Utah State, kind of pushed some stuff under the rug or went outside of the Utah State system to deal with it. And that violated, obviously, the employment policy and stuff. So this university fired him because of that. And they put out a statement yesterday just blasting him about how he doesn't align with their employment values and guidelines and all this stuff. So long story short, Utah State doesn't have, or they do have an interim head coach, and the portal is open for them.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
And then someone else mentioned that Jeff Tedford just retired.
Yeah.
So is Fresno State also open for business?
I think so, yeah.
Wow. What a wild development this late. And both from the same conference. I think Justin's been just pounding the table about the fact that CSU's schedule has 9 first-year head coaches on it.
That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's actually a wild stat. That might be a record almost.
Yep. I know.
Well,
so crazy. But yeah, I think both schools would be open. Wait, can you go back to... Oh, actually, we can save that for the questions later. Never mind.
Which one?
Nothing. It was already starred.
Okay. All right. So some changes to the recruiting calendar. We're in a dead period right now. It ends at the end of the month. It actually, I think, transitions to like a quiet period for next week. But anyways, we were talking, someone asked yesterday, I think on Twitter, like, can Juju still commit during this cycle or during the dead period or whatever? And yes, he can if he wants to. The dead period just restricts in-person contact with coaches and players. So no visits. You can only talk like social media, text message, calls, stuff like that.
And I don't know if it's all dead periods, but don't some dead periods stop coaches from reaching out to players, but players can reach out to coaches?
That's how it used to be, I think,
Okay.
but I don't know what it is now. All this stuff is crazy, man. Yep. But anyways, so what's going to happen next year is they're going to have, I think they're like extending the dead period technically. So basically stuff that is happening right now, like player camps for some schools, official visits for some schools, is going to be extended all the way, I think, until close into August, I believe. Jeff Lebby, the Mississippi State head coach, was asked about this at SEC Media Days. He said, I think it's continuing to speed everything up and speed the process up. I do like the signing day moving up in December so that you don't have those recruiting weekends. You can truly focus on your team, getting ready for bowl prep, finals, all that stuff. July being all the way dead, there's two sides to that. Right now, it cuts out 6-7 days of being open. For us, we're always going to find ways to adapt and find a way to take an advantage. Okay, so here it is. So that means there's going to be no on-campus recruiting next offseason from June 23rd to September 1st.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Why?
They're just messing with the calendar. They're actually trying to clean this thing up a bit, I guess, and not make it as chaotic as it is now.
And that includes transfer portal?
I think.
Okay.
Again, I think grad transfers have, I don't want to say completely different rules because I think they have to abide by the visit rules, but
Okay.
We all know the situation with that. But basically, so what we saw at Colorado, that June 21st recruiting weekend with Julian Lewis, basically after that, recruiting's done for the offseason. That's what it sounds like.
Wow.
At least visit-wise. Commits can still happen. Contact can still happen. Text message, calls, stuff like that. But you're not going to see, visits happening past that. And I don't think we had many visits happen past that June 21st time period this offseason.
Okay.
So that's where we're at.
All right.
What else do we got? So we're doing rank week. And yesterday we had the top
Bless you,
10.
Alyssa.
Bless you. And we had the Miracle at Michigan pop up.
Oh, yeah.
One of the most iconic finishes in college football history. One of the biggest games in Colorado and Denver sports history. I think it came in at number 10 on our list.
7.
I don't think it's 7, brother.
I think it is 7.
It's number 10.
Okay. All right. Why did I see 7?
Number 7 was actually Super Bowl 50.
Okay. So
It says number 7 CU.
appreciate. Oh, the number 7. Okay.
Yeah.
That's why. So at least I have a decent excuse. I mean, perfect example here. First of all, once again, Jake and I excluded from conversations about these rankings.
Yes.
People are talking. Was it on purpose? Was it not? Is there CU erasure happening here? We don't know.
We've faced pushback in this office before, so I'm not surprised.
Exactly. I'm not going to get into it.
It's probably better that way.
Anyways, you just said it, though. So this is number 7. Number 10.
Yeah, number 10.
Number 7 was Super Bowl 50.
Yes.
And we talked about this before these conversations happened. I said, is it about what the best game is or like most impactful game or most important game?
Right.
In no world could you make the case that Super Bowl 50 was a better football game than this game.
And I mean, it's got an iconic play and everything. Like, there's nothing from Super Bowl 50 that outside of Broncos country the rest of football fans are going to really remember.
Yeah, and just, I'm sure we have some people in the comments who are at this game, and there's incredible stories. There's probably, 400,000 people who claim they were at this game, even though the stadium only holds about 100,000.
Right.
But think about this, Jake. When there is a top 10 matchup in college football, everyone watches that game.
Yes.
Like, when you find out, you're like, oh, my God.
Game of the week.
Yeah, like Georgia's taking on Alabama this week. I'm watching.
Right.
Or Michigan, Ohio State, top 10 matchup, we're watching.
Yep.
My favorite is when it's not like a classic rivalry and there's like 2 top 10 teams who are going at it.
Like Texas, Michigan in week 2 this year.
Yeah. That's what this was.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7 Colorado versus number 4 Michigan. Obviously, it's in the non-conference portion of the schedule, so it's not a Super Bowl. But we're just talking about a football game. So this is a football game that everyone in the country is watching.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes down to a Hail Mary where the underdog on the road wins. The ball travels like 76 yards in the air.
One of the most insane throws
Yes.
I've ever seen in my life.
I have a hard time seeing how this wasn't number 1.
Well, we know why. I actually don't even know what's going to be number 1.
I don't
on
either.
this list.
Like I said, we were completely out of the loop.
Also, the fact that the Buffs were down 2 touchdowns and scored 2 touchdowns, including that Hail Mary in the final 2 minutes of the game, basically.
Yeah.
Like, it's borderline improbable. Pretty much improbable, especially with the Hail Mary.
It's borderline, like, not even borderline. It's one of the greatest college football games of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you put it right there with the kick 6 and things of that nature.
Yes.
So anyways, I don't want to complain too much. The game was incredible. The finish is probably one of the most memorable moments ever. And if I were to guess what happened in the conversations about this was it really the game that was great or the play that was great?
Right.
And I guess I'll hear that a little bit. But when there's a walk-off Hail Mary to win a game, the game was great.
I mean, in the all-time college football highlight reel, that play makes it easily.
Every time. Every single time. It's probably in the top 5 every time.
Yep. So my dad told me when I was 8 months old when this game happened. Yeah. When I was 8 months old when this game happened, and he says he remembers watching that game, holding me as a little living potato back in the day.
Now you're just a big living potato.
And now I'm a big living potato. But who would have guessed how these 2 teams would have affected my life back then?
Yeah, what did your dad
Crazy.
say about the game? Just that it was devastating?
Yeah, just like, I mean, what do you even, like for me, it's the, he has trouble with the snap game. Like that's the one where I'm just like, what do you even say about that? Like it's just.
What's that game? The Appalachian State game?
No, that's the Michigan State where Michigan goes to punt the ball and they fumble it and then Michigan State takes it back.
Or he like throws it behind his head.
Terrible, man.
Yeah, man. I can't even imagine. One of my favorite parts about this is that a Hail Mary came from under center.
I know.
Like that's how common under center was back then, that you didn't even take a shotgun snap on an important game because you just were so used to being under center. The other thing to note about this is just that was probably the most talented team in University of Colorado history. Not even probably. I mean, there's several first-round talents on that team.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to think that, like, this year's team will have probably the 2 highest draft picks in University of Colorado history at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a Heisman winner in Rashawn Salaam, Cordell Stewart, who everyone knows, one of the most electric college quarterbacks ever. Michael Westbrook was a first-round pick. You just go on down and down and down, and it's just like crazy to think that none of those guys will have gotten drafted as high as Travis and Shedeur will likely go this year.
All right. We're going to talk naming rights, too. Nick Saban is going to be honored at Alabama this year. It's Bryant-Denny Stadium, right? Mm-hmm. But they're naming it Nick Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium, I believe.
So who's Denny?
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe a really big donor or the athletic director at the time is going to be my guesses.
Let me see if I can find this out. I don't know.
Okay. Anyways,
Or George H. Denny, school's president from 1912 to 1932.
I missed it. I said AD. Maybe he was also the acting AD. I don't know if they had athletic directors back then.
I don't know, man. Well, hold on. Let's take a break real quick, and then we can speculate on this.
Okay.
Time to chill with our friends at Coors Light. We're doing a CFB tournament on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to be here? No?
It is a big deal around here right now.
Well, come hang out at the DNVR bar. Okay. Come hang out with the DNVR bar with us. We got Coors Light on tap. We got the stubby bottles for the banquet beer and the silver bullet cans as well. It's going to be a big Coors Light fall, though. Come hang out with us at tailgates. I'm sure we're going to have plenty of Coors Light, whether we're at Folsom Field or on the road. Make the most out of the times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get it delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Also, shout out to Circus Sportsbook. Handcrafted lines. What can you say?
The best.
One of the few remaining sportsbooks out there that has handcrafted lines like Circa. And by the way, speaking of the college football tournament this Sunday, that is brought to you by Circa. And you can come to the DNVR bar, hang out all day, maybe catch the end of the Open Championship, play a little college football, maybe win that. And all the while, you're entered to win a 3-night stay with hotel and flight booked at Circa. That's an unbelievable deal. Kind of BS that we can't win, but if we can't win, you guys can win, and we can live vicariously through you. So, anyways, shout out to Circa Sportsbook. Shout out to circasports.com. Download the app there. Circa Sports Colorado encourages you to gamble responsibly, and if you have a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, so naming rights for Folsom Field. Let's hit this real quick, then we're going to play fill in the blank. What do you got?
Well, first of all, I think you start with the field name. So they've got their stadium named after a coach and a president. Now they've got the field named after a coach. Alabama's not even selling their naming rights. And I think that's an important thing to just keep in mind here. Because I've noticed a lot of frustration about the fact that Colorado has not sold their naming rights. The Big House. That's just Michigan Stadium.
Yep.
Doesn't have a sponsor on it. We could probably go through. There's a lot. It's kind of rare in college football. The Rose Bowl.
Yep.
It's kind of rare in college football to sell your naming rights to your stadium. More common to name it after a historical figure, such as Fred Folsom. So I think an interesting conversation was, will they ever name something else? Could it be Coach Prime Field at Folsom, or at Folsom Field?
What about like Folsom Field at like Salam Stadium?
Yeah. Something along those lines. I don't think they're going to do that. I think it is more likely that we're moving towards a world where naming rights being sold is more common. I think there's like some sort of flex that goes on for some reason that's not selling your naming rights to your stadium. It's like some sort of like tradition thing that you're doing. And here's the other thing, and this is why it hasn't happened yet. And I've seen a lot of complaints about this, maybe like criticisms of Rick George. The reason why this hasn't happened yet is because of there's a disconnect between this is what I've heard, what Colorado thinks it's worth and what people are willing to pay.
Okay.
And there's always this thing when there's a name that's been established for so long that is like, we don't want to pay for it because we don't think people are going to change what they call it. To be honest, hope they're not watching, but they're right. No matter what you change the stadium to, I will call it Folsom Field for the rest of my life.
Yep.
And it was a big thing with Mile High back in the day. I think they've actually had some decent success at getting people to stop calling it Mile High.
I don't know. And Vesco's the one that, like, I guess I remember the most.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. I feel like I hear people say like, "Oh, where's the concert?" In Power Field.
That sounds nasty.
I agree, but I would just say like I think they've had more success than I expected them to in changing the naming rights. And technically, maybe it helps that it's not even Mile High anymore. Like Mile High Stadium is gone.
Yes,
this is a whole new stadium. That helps. Anyways, what if you accept a deal below what you believe the market value is? And I think there's probably a pretty big chasm here. Then that's what the value is. You know what I mean? Like, you can say your company is worth $100 million, but if you sold the company for $20 million, it was worth 20.
Right.
And that's what I think we're trying to avoid here, is like waiting for the right partner that is at least a lot closer on the value, because the second that you accept that lower value, that is what you're worth.
Yes.
And I also think there's maybe a little bit going on here with the Prime effect, where Colorado's like, the value of our naming rights of our stadium only continues to go up because of Coach Prime.
Of course.
So you wait and see. But I also do think there's that tradition piece where it's like, we're definitely not selling it for below what we believe it's worth, and then taking the hit on the idea of keeping our name for the tradition.
Do you think they'd wait until they redid like the west side and did more renovations to the stadium to do that?
No, I think they need the money from this to renovate the stadium. But there's a lot going on in college football right now. College programs are having to start to figure out how they're going to make a lot more money, because they're going to have to allocate it to the student athletes.
Yep.
And right or wrong, that just puts... if you go back and listen to our interview with Rick George, I asked him about upgrading Folsom.
Right.
He immediately starts talking about paying players.
Yes.
Without saying it.
Yes.
He's just like, there's a lot of changes going on in college football right now, so that's our main focus, is moving into this new era.
Right.
What he's telling you is, I don't think we're going to be able to upgrade Folsom right now because we have to pay the players.
Yep.
That's at least what I read into his answer, which was not. And then, that's when him and Alyssa were laughing, because he's like, oh, I didn't answer your question at all. But you that's the way I read that message. So maybe this naming rights thing would help with it. It's a tricky situation.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if you want $50 million for it and you're getting offered 10,
right.
like, is it worth it?
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know. Naming rights just pop up sometimes out of nowhere. It just happens. So it could happen here. We'll find out.
Well, Zinn is about to build a giant factory, so more companies
that
are
is
coming.
True out here, right?
Yeah, more companies are coming to Colorado. So
let's go.
We're Lucy guys anyway, but
of course.
The point is, lots of companies are coming to Colorado, and that's usually what happens. Is like a company comes to a city and wants to establish a bigger footprint,
right?
And so they're willing to do it.
That's true. Okay, let's play fill in the blank. 5 questions.
Google's in Boulder now. Maybe they want the stadium.
Sure.
Probably don't need any more brand awareness, but
that'd be easy NIL tie-ins with the university.
I'd be down for All-City Field, or just DNVR Field, but go. I think we would probably also be off with the what they're expecting to make off of that.
Who knows? DNVR to the moon, man.
But don't you remember though, when Sports Authority came off of the field?
Yeah, and it's just Broncos Stadium.
Yeah, and it's because they didn't want, like...
Well, Sports Authority went bankrupt.
They tried to make the stadium as boring as possible because they didn't want people to start getting used to calling it something else.
Right.
Because that makes it harder to then sell the rights.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's play fill in the blank.
I love fill in the blank.
You haven't seen these, right?
Haven't seen any of them.
Good. First one. This time next year, the Big 12 will have blank teams in the conference. We're at 16 now.
18.
FSU, Clemson?
FSU and Clemson.
So you think it happens soon?
Within the next year, yeah.
All right. I love it, man.
Around the same time that Colorado... So whenever we announced that we were joining the Big 12...
Right.
That's when it's going to happen. That's when that's going to come out. That news is going to come out next year.
So we're a little over a year from that right now.
Yep. No. When the news came out that Colorado was joining the Big 12, what month was that?
Yeah, that was after Media Day last year, so it was July.
It was?
Yeah.
Okay. I believe you.
Yeah, lots of realignment stuff being talked about right now. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Colorado's next 5-star recruit to commit will be at the blank position besides quarterback.
Besides quarterback?
I mean, if you did quarterback, we'd just go to the next one.
Wide receiver.
Ooh, I like that. I'm going to go defensive line.
Ooh, that would be more exciting.
I think that's where their attention is.
I think that they get Juju, and immediately one of the top receivers in the country says, I'm going to Colorado with Juju.
There was a 5-star who was supposed to commit today that delayed his commitment. And I think we have a question about the Trey McNutt coming up too. Number 3. The feature I wish College Football 25 had is blank.
I wish Coach Prime was in the game.
Yes.
Does that count as a feature?
Yes.
And then the one that's been really, really bothering me is that I can't swag out my coach at all.
That sucks.
Like, you spent all that time adding all the swag for the players. We couldn't even just get like a polo with the team logo on it.
Yeah, we get a short sleeve shirt and a sweater. That's what we get basically, or a jacket, whatever the hell it is.
I finally get the job at Colorado, life dream, and they're like, you can't wear anything cool.
Yeah, you have no access to Smitty's
yeah,
armory,
exactly.
basically.
Smitty has locked you out because he's so pissed that Coach Prime left and you replaced him. You can't even walk into the equipment room without being stopped by security.
I've got 3. First off, we need practice mode in Dynasty. The fact that we
have it.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Where is it?
Wait. You like free practice where you just play like a scrimmage?
Yes.
Yeah, it's there.
Where is it? Help me.
I think it's 3 tabs over.
Okay.
But it says open practice.
Okay, then. Thank God.
Yes.
Number 2, playing on the road is so weird, and like especially when you go to those top 25 like stadium atmosphere places. Why can't we schedule neutral site games?
They didn't want to add more stadiums. But are you saying you would just play at a different college stadium?
Well, all the bowl games are in there. Why can't you just let us like play there, like neutral site before the season?
So you want to play? You want to schedule like LSU at?
Yeah, Mercedes-Benz. Why not?
Okay, great point.
Number 3, we need to be able to flip committed recruits. We need to be able to tamper a bit.
Yeah,
it's not even tampering. They're committed. They're not signed.
Right, but someone was telling me in the chat the other night that they can, if their deal breaker for the other team like falls below expectations, they'll decommit.
Okay.
So their decommitments are possible, but
I want to do it like Julian Lewis style though. Like send out an offer.
Yeah.
Them go, oh, I like what's going on over here. Bring them in on a visit while they're still committed.
Yeah.
And try to actually flip players.
I like that.
Those are just my initial ideas.
Okay. Good stuff. I don't have any like gameplay things that bother me. I just want to be able to put something cool on my coach.
I mean, the gameplay is fine, honestly.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Oh. Unlimited teams in online Dynasty.
That would be chaos.
It would be epic.
It would take 2 weeks to advance.
No. You tell everyone it advances, and if you make it, you make it. If you don't, you don't. Your game gets simmed.
All right.
That's how it works in our league.
But then literally quadruple the amount of people in there.
I
don't know.
You get it done or you don't.
All right. It would be electric though.
Yeah. I just want to like have like Montana on my schedule. I know they're not in the game, but like
right.
And like there's actually a user.
Yeah.
It would be so cool.
Team Builder came out today.
Yep. Not my thing. You?
No. When it's all said and done, Colorado will add blank players from the 2025 recruiting class. I need a number here. How big is this class going to be?
17.
Okay.
20.
We're at 6 right now.
I'm going to go up to 20.
That's around where I was. I think about 20. I still think that they're going to hit the portal heavy, and you've got some guys that are leaving too. I think we're going to see a lot of guys move on or graduate, and we're going to see more recruits coming in this offseason.
Thank you, Louise. She said that Coach Arce's press conferences are amazing.
It's the best part.
It is. It's the best part for me too, but it's also so funny. Allie will just be sitting across the room just laughing at me as I'm fielding questions in my press conference.
That's incredible.
She's like, I got to get into character. What could I say?
Is that it?
As soon as my camera gets here, my coach cam, I'm getting in costume.
Wow.
I can't swag out my coach in the game, but I can swag out my coach in real life.
I love it.
It's just a good excuse for me to be able to spend more money on Buffs gear too.
Yeah.
Get me a couple new polos, nice new hat.
Yep.
I already have the headset on, so it looks like I'm a coach.
You gonna tuck your pants into your socks?
No, no one's. It's only gonna be. You'll only be able to see me like chest up, I think.
Oh, okay. Was that it? Was that all I had? Or is there another one?
No, that was it.
That
It
was
is gonna be weird because right now I just game in like the most comfortable possible clothes I have.
As you should.
Yeah, so then I'm gonna have to change it up.
Yeah, you're gonna get intense in full Buffs gear. I can already feel it. We're gonna see sweat beating down the side of your forehead.
Yep. Oh, I have that hat. I can wear that. Like
There you
Bill
go.
McCartney style.
Yeah. All right, let's get to questions. Cam asks, anybody see that Trey McNutt, the 5-star safety, moved his commitment date from today to August 3rd? Did CU give him an offer? So CU offered him on May 22nd.
Okay.
He was the last, according to 247, Colorado was the last offer he got before he went on his official visit tour this summer. He hit USC, Florida, A&M, and Oregon. I haven't heard anything about Trey McNutt, so I don't know, but I think they've gone after 5-star safeties before, right? There was one last year. I can't remember his name.
Was it KJ Bolden?
Was it KJ?
I think it might have been.
So they're going to try. I don't know if they're the reason why he moved his commitment date, though.
Okay.
Could be anything. Lonnie asks, could y'all see Tyler Brown back at center? Because you can't have Tyler Johnson or Justin Mayers on the bench, in my opinion. Both were really good the last 2 years. Only have 4 sacks, I think, between them. I don't think Tyler's moving to center.
No, and this was the one that I wanted to talk about earlier. Then I was like, okay, we'll save it for the questions. Because there was also a comment that was like, you got to give the quarterbacks on this roster the opportunities they deserve or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, like, that's not how football works.
Right.
Nobody deserves anything.
Yes.
Everything is earned.
Yep.
And Hank Zielinskis has earned the center job so far. Now, it doesn't mean it's locked up, but to this point, he has earned the right to be the starting center going into fall camp. Tyler Brown has earned the right to be the left guard going into fall camp based on merit.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's no disrespect to Tyler Johnson or anything, but these decisions are being made based on what's best for the team. So I just don't like the idea of like, you can't do this or you can't do that. It's like whatever the coaching staff, Phil Lodeholt, Coach Prime, Pat Shurmur decide is the best group that they see. Maybe Hank Zielinskis is just straight up better than Tyler Brown at center.
Yeah.
Or maybe Tyler just didn't adjust as well and he's much better at left guard, but he's better than whoever's behind him at that position. So I feel the same way about the quarterbacks. It's like Ryan Staub was awesome in that Utah game. I thought he did a really good job against a really good defense. He's not owed anything.
Right.
If you bring in competition, he's owed the right to be able to beat them out.
The right to compete, yes.
That is what you are owed if you're on the roster, is the opportunity to compete for a position. But other than that, I think it's all it should be a meritocracy.
Yeah, I think this whole situation is just Tyler is just better at left guard and is one of, if not the best left guard that they have.
Yep.
So that's what's going on. I think that he's a really good player. And again, in the spring game, I thought he was the best offensive lineman on the field.
And someone said, so Ryan hasn't earned a spot. Right now he has. He has earned the backup quarterback position.
Yes, of course.
But no one on the roster is safe from someone new coming in that's better than them. And no one is owed that no one should be brought in. You know what I mean? We talk about it all the time. The coach's job is to bring in a better player than you, always. No matter who you are. There's a couple players on this team who you simply couldn't find a better player than them anywhere. And that's, of course, Travis and Shador.
Yes.
But even if there were, let's just say there was some player out there who's better than Travis Hunter at what he does. Again, that person doesn't exist. But if they did, Travis would not be owed anything other than the opportunity to prove that that's not true.
Right. And the thing with Ryan Staub, too, like, everyone keeps asking us, when we talk about Juju specifically, like, why are you guys just, like, throwing Staub away, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, you got to, again, to your point, their job is to improve every position. No matter who's on the team, they were talking about upgrading quarterback this year, and they've got Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah.
And Ryan's spot is locked in for this year. Like, we're not even thinking about next year in terms of who's competing for QB1, who's competing for QB2. Like, we have a whole portal cycle to go through. We have a whole recruiting cycle to go through, visits for the season. Like, the 2025 starting lineup is like a distant thought in Coach Prime's mind. Now, it might be on Corey Phillips' mind right now, and that's why they're recruiting Juju so hard. But Ryan Staub is going to be the backup quarterback this year. That doesn't mean he's just automatically grandfathered in to be the starter when Shedeur leaves.
No, not at all. But also, if Ryan Staub is still on the roster 1 year from now, and let's just say Juju Lewis is also here, Ryan Staub is owed the opportunity to compete against Juju Lewis to be the starting quarterback, and he will get that.
Absolutely.
But also, there's more that goes into it too when you have a young quarterback like that, which is it best for the team overall to play the young guy, or is it best to play the experienced player? Like, there's bigger conversations come into play when you have that. But the point is, everyone's spot. No one is owed anything other than the opportunity to compete, and every coach should be trying to bring in a better player at every position at all times.
And Coach Prime's proved this too. Just look at the whole Cormani situation last year.
Yep.
Like, they could have just thrown him on the field and say, you're a 5-star, you're just better than the other guys, you're going to be starting. But no, Coach Prime made him earn it, made every other player earn it. There's a reason why freshmen like Carter Stoutmeyer were on the field. They went out and earned it. You know what I mean? So these things, they sort themselves out at practice, man. This isn't something that's just, you look at the depth chart and like in CFB 25 and you go, okay, I'm going to move this guy here and this guy here. It's all determined on the field at practice.
Yep, exactly.
Doyle asked what happened with the senior camp that CU hosted for potential prospects. They had that. That was last month.
And I'm sure they came out with a couple players that could end up being added.
I'm trying to remember because we got a late roster update last offseason. That's when a lot of those guys were added.
Oh, yeah.
Or a lot of later guys. I don't think we've gotten a roster update in a minute, though.
Okay. Next one from Glow Studios. Hey, what happened to Rashad Amos coming to CU? He ended up flipping to Ole Miss, which was crazy because Ole Miss has a lot of running backs.
Yeah. Yep.
Is he going to play for you in your dynasty?
I don't know. We'll see. Ole Miss is good. I'm excited.
Hell yeah.
Nicholas asks, when do they begin to allow media at fall camp? Are y'all going to do another live show from camp with Unk? Fall camp starts a week from Monday. I'm sure we'll have media at least once or twice that week.
Yep. Hopefully we get to see another scrimmage or a practice.
Yes.
At some point. And if so, yeah, we would do a show with Unk. Yeah.
We'll have Unk back next week to help preview camp too.
Right. And also remember, we're going to be doing content from every single practice, where even if we're not in there, we can talk to Unk about what went down.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, the same stuff that you were getting in spring, you'll get in fall camp this year too. And you'll get more written content this fall. Big Mike, do you guys know if Chris Morris, O-line/D-line man, is still transferring to CU? Wasn't that the East Mississippi Community College guy?
Forgot about him.
Again, the roster isn't updated, so, or maybe it is, I don't know. He might not be on it, but
Okay.
I'd have to check his Twitter. Let's see. 247 says he's still a hard commit.
Okay.
But yeah.
What position battles are we looking forward to? We'll have a whole position battle show next week.
Yes,
that
we
we'll
will
talk more about, but thank you for the question.
All right, on to Super Chats. East Coast Kev, what's up, man? Yeah, another day of Norvell. A Nebraska writer alleges that Norvell doesn't like Prime because Prime, so-called, didn't climb the ranks to be a head coach like everyone else. Thoughts?
I need more context on this. Who is saying this, etc.? A Nebraska writer is saying that? I don't know if that's like they're just guessing or whatever. It's hard to say. But let me just say this. I don't know how anyone could ever make the case that Coach Prime didn't climb the ranks. He's coached
crazy.
at more levels of football than probably any other college coach.
He was a youth football coach for like 10 years, basically, youth to high school.
Yes, youth, high school, FCS, and now FBS.
Mm-hmm.
He's literally coached at every level.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't read too much into this. It literally is what he said. It's a Nebraska writer's opinion on the Jay Norvell Coach Prime beef.
Imagine being a Nebraska writer writing a column
insane,
about why he thinks Jay Norvell doesn't like Coach Prime.
It's crazy, man. Glad to know that this team is filling up content for everyone else out there.
Dude, it's actually crazy. There's an old saying in football beat writing that says, when in doubt, write about the quarterback.
Right.
That's changed for all teams.
Yep.
When in doubt, just write about Coach Prime.
Yep. No, I mean, so the original article, these are just quotes being recycled from Mountain West Media Days.
Oh, okay.
Jackie Truth getting a embed tweet in this too.
You can see though, like Jay Norvell, every time he has to talk about the Buffs and Coach Prime, like he grinds his teeth. It like kills him because it's the only thing anyone's ever interested in about his program.
Well, then maybe he should keep his mouth shut and tell his family the same, honestly.
I could not agree more, Jake. But I'm just saying, like, no one ever asks, like, how's the squad looking this year? Because no one gives a shit. Yeah. They're just like, what do you think about Coach Prime?
Yep.
And that kills him because he tried to gain relevancy by talking shit.
Yep.
And he got the relevancy that he was looking for. But the relevancy now, the only thing that anyone cares about him or his program is their connection to CU and Coach Prime.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Barron, hey Arcade, Jake, and FDP. If the Big 12 gets Florida State and Clemson, does Notre Dame follow?
No. Notre Dame will never join a conference unless they are forced to do so.
Yeah, I think. Look, if they didn't do it this round of realignment, I don't know if it's ever going to happen.
Imagine if the Buffs were able to negotiate their own media rights deal right now, and they kept 100% of it.
Yeah.
That's what Notre Dame has going for them.
Yes.
So they would never join another conference because NBC will continue to just pay them a shit ton of money for their games because people will watch.
Mm-hmm. East Coast Kev again. The bottom line is that I support CU and Prime. I trust the process. I'm a Jets fan who's used to losing. My team created the butt fumble. Prime can't do worse than that. We're not going to have anything like that. Yeah.
Very low bar.
I will be shocked if Shador has that low of awareness and situational feel for the game.
Yep.
Appreciate the super chats, East Coast Kev. Barron, any new Juju Lewis news? Nope.
We wish.
Yeah, we would. It'd be the first thing we talked about today.
There's it's a recruiting dead period. It's kind of rude of the college football gods to put a recruiting dead period in the time where there's also no news about anything else. But
if we didn't have this game right now, I don't know what we'd be doing.
I like that the game is making people think about college football on a daily basis, though.
Yeah, it's great. And that's it. Good week. You guys enjoyed Scott again too. We'll have Scott back next week.
Scott's becoming a legend of the program.
They love Scott, man.
Yeah. I mean, he's great.
He's awesome, man. I love talking about
great energy, great takes.
So yeah, we'll have Scott back next week. We'll have Neely back next week to preview camp. Maybe an off-season recap episode. I think that could be fun. It's a lot.
Honestly, we need a full-ass timeline of everything that went down.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
By the way, in my Dynasty mode game against Kansas State, 0 carries for Dylan Edwards.
Interesting.
I don't think he ever even stepped on the field.
Damn. Oh, Dave is right. Juju posted almost time today.
Oh, that is news.
With pictures of, old pictures, I think, with, what's the kid's name? Ryan Walters?
Purdue?
No, the wide receiver.
Ryan Wingo?
No, at Carrollton, his teammate.
Oh, I don't remember.
Anyways, with him and another player. So we'll see.
All right,
that's it then. We'll be back next week. See you guys again. Go Buffs.
Go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.